This week on Deep Space Prodigy Star Trek podcast, we are back, and it's Pride Month. We have a lot of new Star Trek to talk about, including Strange New Worlds, some sad Prodigy news, and we're just going to catch up on life. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Johnson.
Hey, Mike. How are you? You're like a stranger.
I am good. Well, we're a stranger to this podcasting thing.
I know. They're probably like, who are these bitches? Like, we're going to pop up in new episodes, and they're going to be like, wait, this podcast still exists?
Lols, yes. Well, we do still exist. We've just been on a slightly extended hiatus due to life.
I guess.
We are back.
Yeah,
so,
well, you've been busy, I suppose.
No, I have been busy.
It's definitely been more you than me. Let's just say that.
I guess, sure.
I mean, I've been busy. I've been busy as well. So It's okay.
I mean, I ran a marathon and I had a vacation and a birthday and various celebrations and then work as well.
And then by the time that this episode comes out, Pride Month will be over. So it's going to be a little bit delayed.
We're going to get it under the belt. We'll get it in before Pride Month's over.
Okay. I can't believe July 4th is right around the corner. I'm like, what is this?
It's literally next weekend. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's next Tuesday. It's crazy. I can't. I won't.
You won't.
Summer's basically over.
It is not. Stop that. It is not over. This is merely the beginning. It was literally just a couple days ago is the summer solstice. So
I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, "Yeah, once July 4th hits, summer's basically over. Before you know it, it's gone."
No, fail.
It's true. It's true. Oh my god, I can't believe July 4th is already here. It's like goodness.
Well, that's true. But more importantly, what have you been up to in the time that we have been away?
The last 2 months?
Yes.
I'm trying to think if there's anything that is of particular significance that our listeners would be interested in hearing about. I mean, I don't think our listeners are interested in my work life. That's fine. I've been on a couple of dates here and there. Nothing crazy. Yeah. I did go on a date with this guy, and he is, I feel, a bigger Star Trek fan than us.
Than you?
Maybe. Like, he just seems very hardcore. He remembers, like, the names of, like, every episode. Like, I'm like, oh, my God. He's even better at recall. I mean, we're also terrible at recall. But he was just very serious about Star Trek, and I really appreciate that. And it was funny. But when we got together, there wasn't a vibe. He was more than... He's a really sweet guy. He very... just I would say like very easy to approach, like very approachable. That's a word. Very easy to approach. Oh my God, English. Oh God, approachable. He was very approachable. He was very laid back, but I just wasn't feeling a vibe. So
you got to go with that sometimes. But
yeah, and then afterwards he texted me and he was like, "Hey, would be interested in getting together again." And this is just a first date brunch. And I basically said that I wasn't interested. And that I said that, I was honest. I was like, we're not, I think we're okay together, but I'm not really feeling a vibe. So, yeah.
Good for you for being honest. I mean, that's a tough thing to do, especially when you have some shared interests. So how serious of a Star Trek fan is he? Does he know all of the Discovery titles for episodes?
We didn't get to that. We didn't.
Okay.
We did talk about the latest episode, the first episode of Strange New Worlds, and we had some discussion about that. And yeah, but that just reminds us that sometimes having common interests is not enough. You need more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's sometimes it's those intangibles that's really tough. It's like hard to put on paper.
It is for sure.
That being said, one thing I literally thought about was I was like, because I was drafting my note back to him about, like I'm not really interested. I was like, I want ChatGPT to do this for me. Like it would just make it so much easier. I did not use ChatGPT.
Okay.
Yeah, I did not use ChatGPT, but I was literally very much thinking about it. It would have been so much better to like just please tell this guy I'm not interested for me. But
you should put it into ChatGPT now and see what it says.
I don't know. I'm sure I'll come up with a fine response. Actually,
maybe. Yeah.
So I think I've gotten ads for like one of those AI plugins where it's like, we will write responses for you on your behalf. Just tell us what you want to write and we'll do it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an app out there that does that by now.
Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't say there has been too many interesting developments in my life. I mean, I have traveled a little bit. Unlike you, though, I've been traveling for work, so that's no fun. I was at a conference last week for work. Bethany Frankel was a keynote speaker, as well as Trevor Noah. I thought they were both fine. I've never seen The Daily Show, so I was like, Trevor
comedy
Noah.
specials are great. I really liked them.
I don't know. I don't think it's that funny. I didn't think it was that funny. Like,
okay.
So, whatever.
Interesting.
And I networked. Look at me. I was exhausted, Mike. Networking. Oh my God, it takes so much out of me. I hate meeting people. It's ridiculous, but gotta do it. Gotta meet people. That's the only way to make money.
Good on you for doing that. I don't know that I could do that. But.
Oh, come on, Mike. You can do it. I'm fully confident that you can do it. You have a bigger, I think you have a more of a extrovert button than I do. If you want to turn on.
I don't know about that.
I've seen you at conventions, okay? You're like partying it up. You see like one drink in you and you're like out there and you're social butterflying. Meanwhile, I'm like, I'll see you back in the hotel room.
Well, I mean, the alcohol helps with the social anxiety, I guess. So.
Oh, do you have social anxiety?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's
I just hate
more
people
lately. No, for me, it's social anxiety for sure.
Oh, okay. I just don't like talking to people. Sometimes I'm just like, this is so boring. Oh my God,
Yeah, I think that's one of the outcomes of the pandemic for me. Was that just sort of increased
social anxiety?
Yeah.
Oh,
and not from my fear of getting sick or anything, because I'm not worried about that. I mean, I've had COVID twice now,
right?
So but the second time was much easier. I mean, both times were much easier than anything, but
sure,
the second time was easier than the first time, which was misery. But but I still believe in science and vaccines and all that. Definitely made it much easier to deal with. But yeah, no, it's not about getting sick or anything. It's just about my own social anxiety. Yeah.
I never stopped socializing over the pandemic.
No, you did not.
So I was fine. But you know me, I'm also like, I love my alone time. I'm just going to go back now and not talk to people because I'm not enjoying this conversation. So, that's me.
Yeah.
But no.
I'm trying to work on it, but yes, I'm not.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think what else. I got a PS5. That's a big deal for me. I mean, I don't think our listeners care, and you're like, what? But
well, I mean, I'm shocked that you spent money. So there's the first shock.
I did. It's true.
What was the impetus for buying the PS5? Was it Star Trek Resurgence?
No, it was not Star Trek Resurgence. Star Trek Resurgence is available on like almost all platforms, so I didn't need a PS5 to get it. It was another game that you're not going to know. So I was like, I must play this game.
What is the game? I mean, our listeners may know the game.
It's called Final Fantasy 16. It is.
Of course, I've heard of Final Fantasy. What are you talking about?
I don't know. You're not a gamer, bitch.
16, though? I mean, honestly, 16. It's
Bitch,
not like
you're
it's.
not a gamer. I would know whether or not you know Final Fantasy from Star Wars. Like, how am I supposed to know this? You have totally admitted that you're not a gamer.
I'm not a gamer, but I don't live under a rock either.
All right.
Final Fantasy is pretty well known as a gaming masterpiece.
Okay, whatever. I mean, it's a great game. I mean, it's fantastic. I am really enjoying it. I've been playing the heck out of it. It is totally worth the $600.
Oh my word!
That sunk into the PlayStation. It's expensive after everything's said and done. Yeah.
Oh yeah, all the accoutrements that you need to.
I mean,
including the game.
The games themselves are like $70 now.
Yeah.
So it's not cheap, you know.
No. Well, that's.
So yeah, no, but yeah, I think that's the next biggest development. Oh, and then I went through this period where I was like fixing all the little things in my apartment that have been waiting to be fixed. So that was a great 2 weeks.
Oh,
that was
wow.
like I think late April. It was fantastic.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I am shocked that you are handy like that. Number one.
Oh yeah. There was like a outlet that was like broken. Like it was like one of those outlets that it's like for wet, like a wet outlet. What do you call it? GFID or something. And it wasn't working. I replaced the whole thing. It was easy.
Wow, look at you.
I replaced
very
that.
Butch of you.
Yeah.
Very butch
so much. I have all the muscles. I replaced my shower head because that was having some issues. And there was just a few other things I just had to take care of around the house.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. I felt so accomplished.
I invited my dad down to New York. He'll be down sometime next month to help us do stuff around the apartment here. So
right, your bedroom,
stuff
kids' bedroom.
Beyond, the kids' bedroom and some AC and fans, stuff that I could not do on my own. So. And also I'm tacking on some other little things. We may build a door in our backyard.
Door? To where? Narnia? Like what door?
Yes, absolutely. To Narnia and to a potential fire escape. Because if you get into our backyard, which all of the fire exits on the backside of our building enter into, you can't get out. Unless it's through our apartment, which,
where is this door going to lead?
It's going to lead into the next yard, to the side yard. Basically our same building, just the yard next door to us.
Do you have to get permission from the building to do that?
I mean, I'm going to talk to the board about it or whatever, or board person. So,
okay.
Just to make sure it's okay. But, I mean, for our fire escape, I mean, it really should have been built in there in the first place. But, but yeah. So we're going to do that. I have a little bit of plumbing that I just can't figure out.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Plumbing issues.
Well, it's like our hot water in our kitchen sink does not really... It, like, drips. It's not like you turn it on and, like, you get a full splash and then it's eventually all hot water. No.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to have him look at that. So.
Being a homeowner.
I'll take him around to some sites in New York City. We'll take him out to dinner.
Bring him to all the gay bars.
Yes, that is not. Nope.
Oh my God, he should have come during Pride weekend.
Oh my God, no.
Could you imagine?
I can't even imagine. That would be a nightmare. That would be
honestly, Pride weekend sometimes even too much for me. I'm like, there's so many people. It's like there are no shirts. I'm like, I'm leaving.
I mean, it was Pride weekend this past weekend, and I really enjoyed seeing all the different, costumes and outfits, and just everything. It was just a great example of the diversity of our community. Really,
yes.
And I'm impressed with the confidence that people pull off some of these outfits.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on the subway to work one day. To volunteer. We did a water table at my church and for the Dyke March on Saturday. And I was in the subway and get into a car with I'm going to say a guy who was dressed very beautifully, but had no front to his pants at all. And was wearing pink tidy whities essentially, and
oh wow,
there was not a lot left to the imagination, and I was like, "You do you."
Wow.
So yeah, but he looked amazing. I mean, his overall outfit was just very impressive. So
there we go.
Yeah. So kudos to you and to everyone who has confidence to pull that off. I do not have that kind of confidence.
I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I'm more of a prude. I'm just kind of like, I'm like very old fashioned when it comes to outfits and what I wear. I don't even like put on any outfits when we go to like conventions. I'm like, that's too much. I'm just like, I'm just going to wear like a polo or button down from J. Crew. Like, it's not, I'm just very prudish. It's not even, I don't think it's like a matter of being, for me, it's not really like, oh, I'm embarrassed or whatever. I'm kind of just like, I don't know, old fashioned maybe.
I mean, for me, it's but I did wear a nice shirt on Sunday. I like a flower shirt to kind of stand out and be a little festive rather than my normal, like, plain blue polo or whatever.
Sure.
And then I came back, and when we went out later, I wore my Star Trek Diversity Rainbow Starship t-shirt.
Right. So, I like that t-shirt.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I went to put something on, and I reached into my closet, and I was like, oh, I do have this. So I put it on.
It's a nice shirt. I like it.
Yeah. I wish it was in a slightly different t-shirt color, because it's kind of in this like heather gray.
I love heather gray.
I do too.
It's like one of my favorite colors. I love heather gray.
But, when you're going out, during Pride, you kind of want something a little more poppy, maybe.
I guess so.
Anyway, yeah. Well, so you haven't done any traveling, but I get to spend some time.
No, I have, but it's for work. I was in California, remember?
Right. Oh, yes. We came back from California, and you went to California.
Yes, we crossed each other. It was literally ships in the night situation.
Yeah. Which is why we couldn't record last week, really. And then it was Pride weekend, because you didn't get back till Friday night.
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah. So I didn't take that into account, because when I came back from vacation, I was fully expecting to record. And but here we are. We're recording.
Yeah. We're recording now, Yeah. It's A for effort, D for output, but here we are. Yeah.
I mean, we are on episode 109, so I don't think we necessarily get D for output.
D for consistency. At least consistency in 2023.
Maybe consistency. Yes. 2023. Yeah. Yes. 2023 has been a new, different year. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot.
Well, what about you, Mike? What's been the latest? Yes, you ran a marathon. That was an accomplishment.
Yeah, I'm really proud of running a marathon, so that was great. And then I had my birthday in Palm Springs, and came back to Boston and had a party with my family, and that was a lot of fun. And then was really hungover on the way back to New York.
Oh wow! You drank that much with your family?
Yeah. I would say I drank. Yes, I drank consistent. I was consistent with my drinking for my party, and I wasn't as consistent with my eating. So, because I was socializing and just having a good time, so it was great. It was good.
Good.
Yeah. So, and it was nice to be away. San Diego. We really enjoyed San Diego. We enjoyed Palm Springs. We want to go back. So yeah, it was good to get away, and then
yeah, I really like vacations where you have a decent amount of downtime, which seems to be the case with your trip. It's like obviously you guys did stuff. I know you went to Joshua Tree. right?
We did. Yeah, we did. We went to Joshua Tree. That
Like
was a lot of fun.
like off-roading. Was it
Yeah,
off-roading in Joshua
we
Tree?
did. Yeah, we did an off-roading tour, which was actually better than doing it on our own, I think. So
Right.
it was great, and our guide was amazing, and the other woman who was with us on the tour was great. It was just the three of us and our tour guide in a off-road, in a Jeep, I want to say.
Should have gotten that off-roading vehicle from like Insurrection or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
God.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was good. And then we went up the Palm Springs tramway and to the top.
What the fuck is that?
It's I think it's a trolley, a car that goes all the way up to the top of this mountain.
Okay.
Which was extremely nerve-wracking for me going up. I mean, granted, this cable has been around, doing it forever and ever, but still very nerve-wracking.
Well, I'm going skydiving in August to our listeners.
Oh,
Did you not know this, Mike?
No, I did not know. No.
Oh, yeah, I'm going skydiving in August.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah. Would you go skydiving, Mike?
Yeah, I think I would. I totally
Okay.
would.
So it's not a height issue. It was just like the cable was precarious or something.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Yeah, it's just I don't know. Yeah, I would love to fly. I mean, I consider skydiving flying, and I've had flying dreams my entire
Well, I mean, it's more like
life.
You're falling.
Sure. But I've had flying dreams since I was a kid. So
okay.
Yes. So yeah.
Well,
so
I'll let you know how it goes, and I'm always happy to do it with you. Though if I die, then good luck.
Yeah, we need to talk about your will before you go. There's some discrepancies that we need to clear up prior to you doing this.
Oh my God.
So yes, we'll schedule a meeting for that.
Okay, got it. What else, Mike? What else has happened? Obviously, your adoption process has been chugging you along.
It has, yeah. We're moving forward. I mean, things are moving forward, and we should have our preliminary packet sent to South Africa in a week or so. Early, So we're very close to our initial goal with that. So we wanted it by the end of June. It's going to probably be just the first week of July that it goes out, but and then the official one takes however long it takes. But at least the unofficial, the draft one goes out, and so we start. Hopefully, we'll start getting some kid profiles, and we have a few things to do here, not in the apartment, but I mean, we have to meet with an immigration pediatrician and build a relationship with them.
Oh my God.
And then, I want to look into some daycare options and all that.
So much work. So much work, Mike.
But it's different kind of work. It's not like disclosing your entire life work. It's
still a lot to take care of.
Yeah, but I feel like disclosing your entire life in documents and where you've lived for the last 30 years and all of that is much more invasive than going and making an appointment with a doctor in the Bronx. It's just like a doctor's visit, really. So, And then, I was
talking to someone about this because I was telling them about your adoption process, and I think he was like, it's funny because when a hetero couple decides to have a kid, there's no vetting process. It's just do it. And it's maybe there should be a vetting process. Maybe there should be a background check. I would not be completely opposed to that, to be honest. It's at least ask at least do a basic background check. Just, is this a serial murderer? So for example,
after going through this, there is no control for heterosexual couples, and it is extremely
unless you're China.
I guess. I don't know.
Well, they have now it's 2 kids, but are you familiar with their 1-child policy?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Right. So yes, at least there's some sort of state control. I mean, it is somewhat draconian and potentially dystopian, depending upon your view. But it's it's very strictly controlled in terms of who can have children or more, at least more than 1 child. So
Yeah, I just think everyone should go through some of the training that we went through. I mean,
Right.
it's really eye opening. Having to answer questions about why you want to have a kid and all of that, like really
Yeah.
being thoughtful about
Right.
why you want to adopt or create a child is, I think, super important. So, yeah, no, I'm in favor of more mandatory training and or vetting for all people who want to have offspring. So,
Right.
yeah, it's intensive. It's intensive. I feel like I could literally go get a job at the FBI easier than it is to want to adopt.
Well, it definitely sounds like a process that I do not envy. So,
well, most of the processes, or a good portion of the process, is almost over for us.
Thank God.
So, yeah.
No.
So that's actually been between that and training for the marathon that I ran. That has been the big push of 2023. So,
what is going on in the background? There's some noises.
I believe Dennis is cooking.
Oh, okay.
So I believe that's. But I have my noise canceling on, so I'm sorry that is happening. But
I mean, it sounds like someone's like tapping something. It's
yes. Otherwise, or it could be. Is it raining outside? Because it could be the rain on the AC. That's also a possibility.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Anyway, well, since this is still a Star Trek podcast,
that's right.
We should probably talk about some Star Trek here, and a lot has happened in the last 2+ months.
A lot has happened, and yet we could not really discern much news. But yes, things have happened.
Well, things that happened. Here's a few of the highlights, lowlights. I mean, at some point in the last 3 months, Discovery got canceled.
Yes.
Or the 5th season will be its final season. Let's see what else.
That did come out of left field a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, because a few of the cast members, I believe, including Wilson Cruz, was saying how they were getting ready to film the 6th season.
Right.
So
and now they're going to go back and film some wrap-up stuff for the series. So.
Right. I mean, they're probably already done at this point.
No, I think they're going. No,
are they still doing?
No, they haven't even done it yet. I think it's happening in September. I don't think they've changed the date of them going back. So there's that.
And then we have the Section 31 movie. That's like old news at this point, but was it in the last 2 months?
I think so. Yeah, it was after
the Section 31 movie and the Star Trek Academy series.
I feel like the Star Trek Academy series was said. It was said before First Contact Day. There was that, and then the Section 31 thing came out after the Oscars. Okay. So yeah, we have those two things on the horizon. Also, oh my gosh, why can't I think of her name? Mariner is on the writing team for
Academy.
Yeah, for Academy. Yes.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool to hear.
Tawny Newsome.
Thank you.
Yes, I do not know how I feel about the Academy series. I did not like the setting. I don't like the 32nd century, personally. But we know that's when it's going to be set.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch CW shit, so I might like it, but if that's the demographic they're going for, it might not be for everyone. I don't know.
Yeah, it might not be. And not every show is for everyone, really, to be honest. I mean, we watch it because we like it. We like Star Trek, and we have feelings about it, which, but if it's sort of on the side of like, so I used to watch, I finished Arrow. I finished with Arrow. I watched Arrow throughout.
Arrow was so good, but then it started dragging after a while, and it's like, oh my God, it's over.
Well, after the 5 years, and then they created this other gap or whatever.
Right.
That's when it got a little rough. But I did watch it through the end of that, and then I sort of fell off after that, especially even with The Flash, which I watched at the same time.
The Flash I watched religiously, but eventually it got kind of boring. It was so good.
Okay, and it just wrapped its final episode in the last month or so. But if it's in the vein of Arrow, if it's like Arrow, then it might be interesting.
Could be, yeah, could be.
But
or it might be more like a Gossip Girl, XOXO.
Yep, Gossip or Archie. What's the Archie?
Riverdale.
I feel like it could probably lean more towards Riverdale. Unfortunately,
it could lean, yeah, sure. Or Elite, which I know you did not like. But
I couldn't really get into Elite, but I see clips of it still on Instagram from time to time because there are some.
The first season of Elite was so good. So good. I know you didn't get into it, but it was like amazing.
I mean, yeah. All right, so there's Starfleet Academy that's happening. Then there's the Section 31 movie, which I actually think is a good plan rather than
it's fine.
Yeah,
that is totally fine. I do not have an issue with just a one-off.
Yeah,
totally okay.
Yeah, and with Michelle Yeoh on it, I think that
she's a busy woman. I'm surprised that they even closed a deal, honestly, because it was in limbo for forever.
I think well, a lot of things have been in limbo forever, but I feel like she has always been committed to doing something. And so
but it's not just up to her, right? Like, especially given where streaming is now and the next news item that we're going to be talking about. I would not be shocked because they specifically said that there will be season 2 of Prodigy. And I would not be shocked if they're like, Academy series, just kidding. We decided not to do it. I would not put anything past Paramount Plus.
No, I wouldn't either at this point. So it'll be interesting whether we see, I think we'll definitely see the Section 31 movie because that's Michelle Yeoh, and that's going to be a attraction for people to do. But yeah, it's a question of, so the other big question really is, at least with Academy and actually the whole industry right now is on kind of hold while the writers are on strike. So
yeah, but that is the more. It really does go back to the more existential problem of where streaming is nowadays, and the profitability of the industry, and basically all these streaming platforms are in debt because they spent years and years just putting money into content, and now they're like, "Wait, we don't have subscribers. Where's this money going to come from?" So it's kind of a bigger issue. And that's what, that's what part of the writer strike is about, them not getting enough money because these writers are they're working on shows that have like 6 episodes, 8 episodes versus 24 episodes. It's just like a completely different model now. Mm-hmm. And they're like, it's not sustainable living. We need more commissions. We need to be paid more consistently, but the streaming model doesn't support it. So it's kind of a problem.
Yeah. And also this whole idea of writers' rooms and pitching a show. I mean, they make you flesh out a show and then they put it on the shelf for a little while, or it takes a while to get approval. And then by that time, 6 months, a year has passed, and to get that writer back in, or to, that content is no longer necessarily theirs. So then other people are brought in to take it from there or whatever. So yeah, it's but overall, I mean, what this has done is it's pushed back any new programming. So there's going to be a gap that we're going to be looking at probably within the next 6 to 12 months of nothing coming out. Or however long they've booking content up to. So, I think the last time that this happened, we had a lot of reality TV shows kind of come up.
Yeah,
we did. Woodwork. And I am not interested in watching those. So,
well, now I feel we have more foreign content because of Netflix. So you have more, you can always go and watch a K-drama or something.
Yeah, I think, there's definitely a lot more out there.
There's a lot, actually. There's a lot of foreign content I've not watched that's supposed to be really good. So,
yeah.
Maybe this will be an opportunity to dip into that library. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So,
oh, wait, I forgot to also mention I'm almost done with Babylon 5. That was a big accomplishment for the past 2 or 3 months. Yeah.
Okay.
So so spoilers for our listeners that may have watched this 30-year-old television show. So I burned through, like, after I got to season 2, I burned through season 2, 3, and 4. Like, I ate it up.
Yep.
And now I'm in season 5, and I'm slow. I've slowed down significantly. Like,
yes.
Because all the big stakes that they were setting up in season 1 with the dictatorship of Earth and the Shadow War, all, the geopolitical aspects, and also like the galaxy-wide aspects were all resolved in season 4. So I've lost a lot of forward momentum.
Yes.
And I'm like 3 episodes into season 5. Yeah.
Yeah, that was back in the day where they didn't get readily renewed for season 5.
Right.
And so they did. So depending on how you're watching it, so technically at the end of season 4 is what they've now tacked on to the end of season 5.
Well, it was like
finale.
this episode where they at least when I was watching it on Tubi, it's this episode where they go like a million years into the future or whatever.
Oh, okay. No, that is not the finale. So there's no, it's not. I want to say it's called Sleeping in Light or Sleeping in the Light.
Oh.
And so I think it's technically now they've put it at the end of season 5 as the series finale. So, yeah, so that's, back when I watched it first run, that is how it ended. And then it came back for a surprise season 5, which was very different.
There's like a new captain on the ship, on Babylon 5, rather.
Yep.
Station. And like now it's about the telepaths, which I'm like a little bit less into. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, we'll have to chat about that more, but let's get back to Star Trek.
Sorry. It is a really good series.
It is. I agree. And
but,
there's a new animated movie coming out later
on Blu-ray and DVD.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, I see a ton of similarities between that and Deep Space Nine. There's like a lot.
Yeah. But
Yes.
I
my God.
Yes, but I watched them both simultaneously and had no problem.
I mean, they're good, but I could see just so many similarities, like thematic similarities, character similarities, storyline similarities, So it's interesting. I can see why there was like a lawsuit. Or whatnot. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
So back to the news. The latest news, I guess there are two things. One is Prodigy has now been canceled, and as of today, Monday, has been removed from Paramount Plus. So this news came out on Saturday or Friday or Saturday.
Friday. I was screaming at you. I was screaming, Mike.
Like you're screaming now.
Yeah, I was like, Mike, and then there were like 10 exclamation points after Mike.
Yes. That's Johnson screaming in Slack.
Yes.
Yeah, so that came as a shock. And then I started watching it on Saturday again.
Shocking.
I wanted to give some views. And then you told me this morning
it's gone.
And I went on my Paramount Plus subscription that I pay for Paramount. Thank you. For removing something that I was in the middle of watching again.
I know.
So, yes, that's really unfortunate. They are shopping it around for another provider. And I guess Dan Hageman has said that they will finish season 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they're going to finish season 2 and they're going to shop it around. I'm concerned that no one's going to take it. Like, no one buys it. And if we will ever see season 2. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a potential. That I feel that is a potential outcome that no one decides to actually buy the rights to air it.
Yeah,
and it just never sees the light of day.
That's unfortunate. And we know from precedent that who was it? Warner Brothers shelved an entire season of Batgirl or something like that, or
It was a movie.
It
was a movie.
Movie.
Yeah.
For tax reasons, they shelved it, and
Right.
that will never see the light of day, apparently. So
yeah, because they basically felt that it was so bad that it would make negative money. Like the amount of money it takes to release it, and the amount of money they would get back, marketing, everything, and then the tax implications, it would be like a negative. So it's cheap. It would be cheaper to just never release it.
Yeah. So what, did they take the loss on it as a one-time loss, or what do they do? You know?
I think so. Yeah, just the loss on it versus like a future loss or something.
Interesting.
So
yeah. So hopefully that does not happen to Prodigy. Hopefully some smart service will pick it up.
I know. I hope so. It was so good. I love Prodigy. I do have to say that I just don't know if it like ever penetrated the popular mainstream. You know, it just. I feel like Picard season 3 kind of did that. Like, I feel like everyone was talking about Picard season 3. Like, I felt it was like everywhere. Like the press was talking about it. People were talking about it. There were like billboards everywhere. It was literally like people were just talking about it. You know, it was constant. And it kind of, you know, like TNG, if you think about it, TNG back in the day, on average, over 20 million people watch an episode like of TNG, which is crazy. That's like in terms of ratings. Like,
and
nowadays.
It was syndicated. It wasn't even on a major broadcaster.
Right. Granted, like the amount of options, the volume of options back then was more limiting, but over 20 million people watch TNG, like on average, each episode on average. So yeah, it's like kind of going back to that where people were just talking about it, you know, like people were excited. People really got amped up for this final season. I just feel Prodigy just never, I mean, not to compare Prodigy to Picard or TNG or whatever, but it just never really reached that level of discourse. You know, I just, sure, when we like talk to the fans at like a convention, people will watch it, but I didn't know any, I mean, maybe I didn't know the right people, but it was I just don't know. And it was hard sometimes because it's like, who is this for? Is it for the Voyager fans? Is this for the kids? Are the kids going to be kind of lost because they're not shipping Chakotay and Janeway? They're not Johnson, who's kind of for? It was kind of tricky. They're trying to straddle this line. I loved it, but I'm very niche, you know?
Yeah. I don't know, we don't know the future of it really. And it's unfortunate that more people didn't gravitate towards it, more hardcore center Star Trek fans.
Yeah, I don't feel Star Trek fans were that into it, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe I think a lot of them were dismissive of it because it's just
animated. Yeah. I mean,
and Lower Decks is different because Lower Decks has the, more adult animation, that kind of style and that kind of humor is different. But yeah I don't know. I'm just not sure I've ever found an audience.
Well, hopefully it finds a second wind, not unlike Deep Space Nine did many, many years later. So hopefully that will at some point happen to Prodigy. And
see, my problem is though, like if they don't get to resolve these storylines, this will be the first time where we have these like big threads that are just like unresolved in a Star Trek series. Like, where is Chakotay? Like, will he be saved? And if we don't get to see season 2 of Prodigy, how would the character be approached in the future? Literally the Memory Alpha article like ends, he's stuck in the 50 years in the future. Like, what can future writers do with that character? They need to resolve it somehow. This is the problem. So now, like, Janeway is kind of in limbo. Like, Admiral Janeway might be in limbo. Chakotay might be in limbo. That's kind of an issue. So
yeah, for two major characters on this, but maybe the hope, maybe the answer comes with Star Trek Legacy if that comes off the ground.
Maybe.
That's that can be something that brings about that resolution.
And they'll just say it passing, like, "Oh yeah, Jamie went to save him. He's fine." Like maybe they just wrap it up somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a two-parter where the Enterprise G is sent to wherever to rescue Admiral Janeway, and they go on a mission to bring back Chakotay. Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah, bring them back into the present time. Although I don't know what. Yeah,
well, Admiral Janeway's around because she was mentioned like 18 times in Picard season 3, so she's alive and kicking.
So by the time of Legacy, whatever happened is resolved.
Yes,
essentially. Oh, so forget my idea then. I guess unless the Enterprise G goes back in time to save them, I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. Well, people more creative than us can hopefully help to resolve this problem.
Yeah. Well, if the creative people go back to work with a deal that will take care of them. So
hopefully. Who knows? Yeah.
So there's that news. And the only other piece that came out this week, which I'm personally excited about as a fan of audiobooks, and specifically Star Trek audiobooks, is A Stitch in Time it has been recorded, but Andrew Robinson is going to read A Stitch in Time, which is the book he wrote back in the days of pocket novelizations.
Yeah.
And so that is coming out in August with him.
I wonder how that deal got worked out, that Andrew Robinson would do the audiobook of such an old book at this point.
But he wrote the book, so
I understand, but basically someone had to say yes. Someone had to green light it, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's coming out, so I'm glad it was greenlit. I'm excited to listen to it. And
love Andrew Robinson.
Yeah.
I love Garrick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great character.
A early day queer icon that was not monikered as such.
Correct.
But is now sort of being reinvigorated with this idea that he was probably gay, and which looking back on it seems obvious, but
I guess I never really saw that, to be totally honest. But I can see why people think that.
Yeah.
He never struck me as a gay character, but sure.
Actually, it didn't for me either, but I like having it be reframed in this way a lot. I think that, and it does make sense looking back at it. Obviously, 30 years ago, times were different, and
different. Of course, yes. Of course.
So the world has significantly changed in 30 years, although we question that on a daily basis, as our rights and human rights are limited more and more.
Right.
So, but I'm excited. I'm excited to listen to it. I don't remember. I'm sure I read it at the time, but I don't remember.
I don't think I read it. I don't think I read that one.
So, I remember having it. I remember possessing the book. So it may even be somewhere in my storage of books. I don't know. All right, so I think that rounds out most of the news. I'm sure there's little bits of pieces here and there. Resurgence came out, which you said you played.
Yes, I played through it. Actually paid money for it because I wanted to support Star Trek.
Yeah.
So I was like, I will put down my hard-earned cash, my hard-earned Latinum, and pay for this game. And it was good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was pretty well done. It was kind of glitchy. I have some feedback for the developers. Like, there were some issues. Like, there were moments when you open up your tricorder. Like, there are these moments when you get to scan stuff, and you open your tricorder, and it's supposed to, like, initiate, like, oh, you can do a scan or whatever. I couldn't close the tricorder, and then I was just stuck in scan mode, and that was very annoying. Like literally, I had to like physically turn off the game and restart it
Oh, wow.
Like that's not good. That's not good.
That's not good.
There are some glitches like that, and then there are glitches when like people say the same thing twice. It's like it's just not. It's pretty polished for the most part, but there are small things like that that I'm like, oh my god, they should have done more QA on this game. That being said, the story is good. It's a storytelling type of game. You make these choices that dictate the outcome of what happens, yada yada yada. But it was more epic than I thought it would be. It got pretty like, oh, there are like galactic consequences, like that kind of thing, you know? It's very interesting. So I would encourage everyone to play it if you haven't picked it up. It's available on multiple platforms, PC, Switch, Xbox, PlayStation. So they are definitely making it as, accessible as possible. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. And it feels like you're playing through a season of Star Trek. I know that other podcasters have said this, but it really does feel like you're playing through many episodes.
Cool. How long did it take you to complete the game?
I would say probably like 11 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, about a season's worth. Yeah. Of gameplay. Yeah. Totally worth it.
It's a reasonable investment. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like $40. Yeah. It's worth the entertainment value for sure.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
So yeah, recommend it. Support Star Trek and Star Trek gaming, because there honestly aren't enough Star Trek games. So
there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's move on to our next little bit. I don't think we ever got around to doing a recap or our final thoughts on Picard. We can table that to the next episode and jump right into Strange New Worlds. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go with this?
Oh, I can talk about all of it.
Okay.
Is that too much?
It might be too much. We're already almost to an hour here. So
are we? Goodness. Yeah. This is what happens when you take a 2-3 month hiatus.
That's true. We do have a lot to catch up. Why don't we table Picard for our next episode? And hopefully we won't have any news to talk about then. And we talk about
hopefully not another cancellation. That would be sad.
That would, yes. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But let's jump into 2 new episodes of Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
All I can remember is the Ad Astra.
Okay. I actually took notes so I can lead us in this discussion.
Fantastic. Okay. You lead us in this discussion. That'll be great.
Okay. I was like, I felt like you were like rummaging for notes or something.
It's not. I have no notes.
You're rummaging in your brain. I
was rummaging in my brain. We are out of practice with this, and we had much.
Whatever. This is also kind of on brand, because we would also occasionally just start recording and have no idea what we're going to talk about. So it's fine. What's wrong? Your dog needs attention? This is what's happening right now? Are you on mute on purpose? Oh, okay. Got it. Oh my God, he's so needy. I don't understand. Just put him in a cage, Mike. Put him in a cage.
We don't have a cage for him. And yes, he's the biggest lap dog ever. And he's been good for an hour. We've been recording, and he has not bothered me till now. So
all right.
But yeah, lead us into Strange New Worlds and talking about these 2 episodes.
All right. Here we go. So the first episode that we have of season 2 is The Broken Circle. A distress call from Lieutenant Noonien Singh compels Spock to disobey orders and take the USS Enterprise and its crew into disputed space, risking renewed hostilities with the Klingons in a bid to aid their shipmate. So, courtesy of Memory Alpha, thank you for the summary. Mike, have you ever had to steal a ship to rescue a friend or a crewmate?
I have not to date, anyway. I mean, it's
To date.
still early, you know.
You never know. There's still time.
You know, the trope of stealing the Enterprise is one that we've seen many times in Star Trek. So, not a new experience. But, yeah. What did you think about this being the season opener?
Well, first of all, Ethan Peck got bigger. I'm like, oh my God. Like, he got jacked.
Oh, did
he?
Oh.
Yeah, he definitely got bigger. I was like, yeah. But I thought this was good. Yeah, I thought this was good. I liked it. I did not love it. I didn't mind that Pike didn't have a huge part to play in it. I actually didn't really even notice, like, when I was watching it for the first time. I wasn't like, oh my God, where the fuck is Pike? Because honestly, the ensemble is so big that, you know, it was nice to get some more screen time with everybody else.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Yeah, it was I kind of thought that was good. I thought that it was interesting that they decided to not tackle the Una situation and have this happen first. I thought that was interesting. I'm glad we got Lon back. Overall, I thought it was okay. I mean, like, I had some thoughts. I sent you some of my thoughts. I did think that this was a little over. I mean, there's so much Spock and Chapel shit. Like, and I just don't. It was so melodramatic. I just can't stand the melodrama. There was crying. I was like, oh my God, there's crying. I'm like, why is there always crying? There was always like tears or on the verge of tears. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, I don't need this much emotion. But then I'm frustrated because, again, like, Nurse Chapel is basically just defined as being Spock's accessory, which I find very frustrating. We get a little bit more of her, like, she wants to apply to this, like, I don't know, this
program on Vulcan.
Program on Vulcan.
Yeah.
But it's kind of almost just like that doesn't, like, give her more character. It's almost as if, like, I just need to get away from here for a minute for like 2 months. Because I can't be around Spock all the time. She's being defined by her relationship with Spock or non-relationship with Spock. I find that to be very frustrating because I feel Nurse Chapel is capable of so much more. I don't like that. I do think that there were some interesting aspects to this episode. The whole idea that, they explored that, a lot of members of the crew have, like, PTSD from the Klingon War, for example. I thought that was interesting to dive into a little bit. I thought that it was kind of cool that they had this whole idea that, there are people that want war because they can profit from it, and they discovered this conspiracy. It felt very Star Trek 6 to me a little bit.
Oh,
it's like peace is not good for business, peace, and there, and you get these, like, this conspiracy happening to provoke war or prevent peace. And it felt very, very Star Trek 6. I thought it was good. I did have qualms if we dig into certain aspects of it, like the super soldier serum that just came out of nowhere. And, like, it's like, oh, okay, I guess. Oh my God, the fight scenes. Oh my God. Okay. I think that fight choreography on Star Trek is very hit or miss. Like, sometimes it's good. If you have Michelle Yeoh, it's like good. Okay, if Michelle Yeoh is fighting, good fight scene. Because I remember some of the Discovery fight scenes were really good, and it was because Michelle Yeoh was in each and every one of them. Yeah. This was a drag. It was like they were just, like, fighting these Klingons, the corridors, everything was slow-mo. I was getting bored. I started just looking at my phone because I was like, oh, they're still fighting. Oh, they're still fighting. They're in a new corridor. Oh, they're still fighting. It's just, like, got really boring. And there was just moments like that I was just like, we don't need this. Like, and why do they have the super soldier serum? Where's it coming from? It was kind of distracting. So yeah, I mean, there were definitely issues, but overall, I thought it was fine. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I agree with you on the fight scenes were a little uninspiring. But as you were talking, I was kind of thinking about it, and I'm like, but they are medical people. So they aren't like, they're, the super soldier serum, as we're calling it, only would enhance someone who, would give you better than average fighting skills. If you were already above average and you took it, you would be like Michelle Yeoh level as she is at a base. So
I think my problem is they spent so much time on it. Like, I don't expect them to be martial artists, but it was literally like not only long, it was also mostly in slow motion. So, which is a directing choice. So I was just like, oh my God, we're spending so much time on it. And like, if they just, did super soldier serum and like fought their way and like got into the airlock, like, and it was like one corridor. I'm like, all right, fine. It was literally it was like 3 different corridors that they were like fighting in. They just spent so much time on it. That was my problem.
Yeah. I want to come back to, I'll give you my other problem with it. It's the whole idea that there was a cross-field class, what is it, saucer just hanging around being ready to repair. And I have not gone back to episode 4 of Discovery to see what the explosion of the sister ship to the Discovery was. But I find it hard to believe that there were pieces enough together that could be fit back together and look like because to my knowledge, those were the only 2 vessels of that class. So I thought that was a bit of a stretch in that area. But that was my only other real issue with it. And it sort of looked like the Franklin from Star Trek Beyond, which is the Kelvin universe, not even our own universe. So there was that. But I did like the focus on Mabenga and Chapel. I did like that. I did like some of the comedic moments. I actually really do like Pelia as a very interesting character.
She's interesting.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of talk online, on different podcasts, which thanks to you and thanks to some of our guests, I have expanded my listening.
There are a lot of Star Trek podcasts, mate.
There are, but I'm particular about my listenings, and so I actually really do like her and the character. It's actually one of the few things that I liked about episode 3, which we're not going to talk about, but we
can't talk about it yet, Mike.
Yeah, I can't talk about it yet. But I am, I enjoy. I think she adds a nice, different spirit to it. I want to see her interact with Pike, and see what that relationship is like. But the way that she and Spock and she knows Amanda, which I think is interesting.
That was interesting. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. But I loved how the whole crew conspired to steal the Enterprise, or the command officers agreed to steal the Enterprise. I thought that was really good. I was impressed by Spock's impetus to do this, which shows that this is a much younger and kind of more riskier Spock than we saw in what we would consider the TOS era. Because we're still pre-TOS with this. But
to your point about Pelia, I like that she was able to deduce that if a Vulcan's doing this, it must be important. She was able to kind of figure it out. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
To your point about both Pelia and Spock.
Their chemistry was really interesting, and I like that. I actually liked how the whole crew, including Mitchell, gets involved. So we have the Asian.
Oh, finally something for this woman to do. Goodness.
Yeah. So that was great to see. I liked the callbacks that Celia did for Uhura, holding up the earpiece. I'm
doing it for our listeners. I'm doing
yes.
Wait, she's
this is an audio podcast. You can see the ridiculousness of Johnson.
Yeah, that's what she does. I'm doing it correctly. Like, oh.
You are doing it. Yep, you are doing it correctly. Yes, spot on. So yeah, I thought that was great. Gosh, does that cover everyone? Oh, and then we meet Lon on this world where she has found the girl's parents that she went to reunite.
Yes.
And it's interesting that there's this dilithium world that the Federation and the Klingons share, that they switch out monthly. So
yeah,
I thought that was very interesting and very something that I don't know.
That's kind of odd.
I don't know how that jives with Star Trek history, but it's fine.
Yeah, I didn't critique it that much when I first watched it, but I then read some commentary that how it makes like no sense. Yeah. Like how little, like how from a governmental and like from a jurisdiction standpoint, how little it could work. How little it made sense and how like it could not work rather.
Yeah.
So certainly. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. It doesn't really jive.
Yeah. So, but I think it was a good adventure. I think
it looked great. The episode looked really good,
fantastic. Yeah,
between what Starbase 1,
planet,
it looked amazing. The
rocks,
planet,
the rings, whatever it was that they were hiding in. Yeah, I thought all these characters got some great screen time. I didn't, just like you, I really didn't miss Pike.
I barely noticed he was gone. And then people talked about it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I guess he was gone. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
But, apparently he was busy having a baby. So.
Is that when that's newborn. When his daughter was born? Oh,
yeah. Okay, so it was around that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they couldn't as much.
Okay. But I think it fits in with also him going to get number one's friend to...
Right, yeah, they made it work.
Yeah. So they made it work on that end. And as we'll get into with the next episode, I thought that the next episode didn't really reflect on what had just taken place while Pike was away getting this person to defend Una. Which I thought, I know that this show is very episodic, but I think some like little connection would have been acknowledgement in the next episode about what happened in this episode. There wasn't. Right. And Pelia, I don't even think was in the next episode. I don't even think she was in the room watching the proceedings. I don't think so. Just some continuity pieces there that just didn't fit for me, but
it's not like completely ignored, but I feel that it was kind of like as if it never really happened.
Yeah.
So
no, but I thought it was a good episode. I don't know if it was a great season opener, but it was a good episode, and I enjoyed it.
I liked it. It wasn't. I feel like obviously very different. I enjoyed the pilot of season 1, episode 1 more. I thought that was really strong. It really set the stage for the season.
Yep.
Between the whole thing with them saving Una, and then really kind of putting out there why the Federation is what it is, and the values of Starfleet, and then also the overarching story for Pike, setting that whole thing up where he's struggling with his destiny. Like they did a really good job in the pilot of setting up the whole season. This I'm kind of like, okay, so is this supposed to frame the season? Something, I didn't really feel that there was anything that.
So the framing is the end of the episode, right? That 2-second bit, 20 second bit with April at the end, showing the unknown
Right.
Gorn ship entering
Yes.
Federation territory. So
Yes, which
th-
we can discuss more offline in terms of the payoff. But yeah, no, I thought that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. I thought that was an interesting choice. Yeah, there was a interview. What's the showrunner's name again?
Oh gosh, I can see him, but I can't think of his
Caught
name.
you with your pants down. He basically just said on an interview that he is. Well, I'm putting words in his mouth, and it might be a little bit too reductive, but essentially that he respects canon if it's convenient. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, it's I just are the Gorn gonna be this like big thing? I guess, but it's like I wish they would do something different as well. They seem very fixated on the Gorn, and I'm fine with that to a certain extent. But it's like, sure, I guess we can. I'm not like a canon, like a fixator on canon.
Gatekeeper.
But sometimes if it's like too much, what was that?
You're not a gatekeeper, right?
Is that what gatekeeping is?
I think so. Yes.
Is it? Is that what gatekeeping is?
I don't. Anyway.
But yeah, I just I don't know. I'm kind of just like I'm kind of like respect canon when I mean respect canon for what it is, but don't. I feel like he's almost going out of his way to like kind of like not abide by canon in a certain way. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like they could do something new. If they do something new, like, I don't know. But, they really seem to love the Gorn, so.
Well, and I think the Gorn provide a fascinating enemy, one that we aren't very familiar with, except for what we saw last season, and in one episode of TOS. So I think that it's a great enemy that they can do in this time frame before all the things that happen in TOS with the Romulans and the Klingons, which to your point though, so they brought in the Klingons in this episode, which seems completely out of left field, other than Klingons kind of are good attractions to bring people in to watch the episode. So yeah. Well, shall we move on to episode 2? I think we've covered this episode pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we covered most of it. We talked about the drama, we talked about Mbenga, we talked about the Klingons, the Gorn, Pike not being there. Yeah, I think we covered most of it.
Yeah, let's talk about Una and an episode that is already making history in a lot of ways, is already been monikered as an iconic Star Trek episode. And there's been a lot of talk about this episode online.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, I can start us off. So episode 2 is Ad Astra per Aspera. I do not know if I'm saying that correctly or not. Too bad. Commander Una Chenrali faces court-martial along with possible imprisonment and dishonorable dismissal from Starfleet. And her defense is in the hands of a lawyer who's also a childhood friend with whom she had a terrible falling out. Again, from Memory Alpha. I thought that was okay.
Yeah.
That's an okay summary.
That's
more
good.
or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, have you ever been court-martialed?
I have not, no.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Have you ever been in court?
Yes, I've been in court.
In what capacity?
As a victim, as...
What?
Yeah.
Wait, why? How? Wow. When?
When I was a kid. Yeah.
What?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was bullied and...
Oh, yeah, tell us a TLDR. Give us a TLDR version. Yeah.
Sure. I was waiting for the bus. This kid basically put out his cigarette on my face.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I was a junior high. It was junior high, and yeah. So yeah.
Oh my god! Wait, so then what happened?
I still went to school. I don't remember a lot of what happened. I don't even really, other than there was some visits to the sheriff's office and all this stuff that
Oh my god! I didn't know this story.
Yeah, no, I until you brought it up, I didn't really. That's why it's hard picking. I have not thought about this in a long time, like 30 plus years. So
wow,
yeah,
wow. So do you remember the outcome?
I mean, did
you sue him for assault? Like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't. We didn't sue. He just was put into court. I mean, he was a juvenile. I was a juvenile, so it's. I'm pretty sure it's probably, anything typically when you're under 18 is after you reach 18 is typically locked away, so you don't actually carry that into your adulthood. So yeah, I don't remember too much about it other than there was I feel like there's a restraining order and a few interviews and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't remember too much about it, to be honest.
Wow. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate teenagers.
Yes. Well, so when I say I was bullied as a kid, I am not lying. I mean, that was only one instance, but
terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I hope he's dead. That would be a little dramatic.
So I don't even know the kid's name. I barely
so you can't even
remember.
You can't even stalk him, see if he's alive or dead.
I really don't care. Yeah, I don't care what his current.
I care. I want to know. Oh my god!
So I've been in court. I was in court for my first divorce. So there's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
our listeners
those are the two times that I've been in. Those are two of the. I think those are the only two times I've been in court, really.
Wow. Two more than me. I haven't been in court. The closest I got was during jury selection, and I got into the courtroom, and they had like 50 people in the courtroom, and they started asking questions. Like they kind of go through the interview process, and then we got dismissed. Like I don't remember all the details. This is when I was living in Queens, so it was the Queens Court, which was like deep in Queens. I had to travel far.
You must be due for another. I mean, I feel like I'm due for another jury selection here shortly.
Yeah, so this was a long time ago. I feel it was like 2009, 2010 or something when I was living in Long City in Queens, and it was only a few years in when I was living in the borough that I got called. Ever since I moved into Manhattan, I haven't gotten called. So
I've been called once, and I was actually in the jury box, and I was asked some questions, but I did not get chosen. So.
Oh wait! So what happened?
I think. So the question was, it was a case around a cop, and the question was whether have you had any interactions with a police officer that would
that would taint your opinion.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And I was honest, and I said, yeah, I had. I don't even remember what example I gave. But I said something, and so I think it disqualified me. I was not
were you honest, or did you make something up?
No, I was honest. Yeah, I don't. And this was long before the current discussion. I mean, this was probably 8 years ago. It was long before the current discussions about police and
about police brutality and such.
Yeah, so it was definitely. I mean, now I don't. If that same kind of case came up, I would absolutely have opinions about that. I would not get chosen. So,
well, you didn't get chosen then either. So
yeah. So, So that's my journey. But I feel like I'm like it's been 8 years at least. I feel like
it's been 7 years for me. I feel I'm overdue as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, there's something to look forward to this fall or this summer. Hopefully not.
I mean, we'll see. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this courtroom drama was really well done, and
Yeah.
everybody is going crazy over. I'm going to mispronounce her name, and I apologize. I want to say Yetedi's performance as Nira, but she did a phenomenal job. And
She was really good. Yes.
And just a shout out to the Sci-Fi Sisters, who had an amazing interview with them last week. And
Oh, really?
You should give a listen to that, yeah, because she's a fan too. So that's
Oh, she is?
good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, and she had a blast recording the episode. So, which I can imagine.
Cool.
With it, that's the one thing about this cast. I think that if you were a guest star on this show, you are just raving about the camaraderie on this show. Hit the Ground Running, this show has had the camaraderie that I don't think we've seen since probably Next Generation, to be honest, and that crew. No offense to any of the other franchises, any of the other series, but I think with Picard, you see the enduring quality of that cast,
right?
And I think
Absolutely.
that this cast is the modern day version of the Next Generation crew.
They do, and they do have a lot of chemistry. I really appreciate it, and it's
on
it's
and
like
off screen. It's not fake. It's not fake.
Oh no, I feel
acting.
They seem to enjoy hanging out, and just chilling together, which is really nice, and that's always nice to see. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
but definitely on screen and off screen, I think their chemistry is really noticeable, and it really does help that they give them all kind of a moment to do stuff, and it's not just one person's show. I think that really helps, that it's episodic and it gives everyone a time to shine. I think it does help build that character dynamic, because you give these people opportunities to engage with other castmates that they may not usually, which is great. But no, she was great. The Nero character was really strong. I really liked her performance. And yeah, I'm always appreciate strong female characters.
Yeah. It's, Una, Rebecca Romaine did an amazing job in this episode. I don't know the actress who plays Captain Patel, but
I don't know her. I don't know her real name either.
She did a great job. The Vulcan, the Admiral / Commodore, whatever,
Vice
Vulcan
Admiral
was,
or whatever.
Yeah, whatever he is. He's scary. He is not friendly looking.
No, not friendly at all. It definitely had it out for Una.
And Pike. He had it out for Pike. It wasn't even Una that he was going for. He was going for Pike.
Yeah. So
I feel like that's going to come back at some point. And we're going to see something along that line. I thought, and also, so this also explains why maybe, what is it, The Broken Circle was first episode, because we needed to get Lon back for her contributions to this episode.
Sure.
So, that makes sense in a story timeline perspective. But again, the way that they use star dates in this show.
I've given up on that, Mike.
Oh, it still bugs me whenever they say star date. I'm like, oh, what is it?
Whatever. It's just like a random number generator.
it really is. Like,
at this point,
let me just ramble off 4 numbers and a 0.2 and be done with it. Like, the scripts probably just say XXXX.X, and you just fill in your own favorite number that week and play the lottery with it. Whatever.
I mean, maybe they're playing into the whole idea where the TOS star dates then transition to the TNG star dates with the 5 digits, and it's like, what's happening? I don't know.
Yeah, but the TNG ones made sense. They were in
Were they
order.
sequential?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. First season was 41000, and then season 7 was 47000.
That's so weird that they made that decision for Stranger Worlds to just, not have consistency. Like,
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah,
Because that's really simple. That's not hard. Yeah.
But maybe because, who knows? Maybe because TOS was all over the place. They decided Strange New Worlds should be all over the place.
Maybe. Yeah.
But, the fascinating piece of this episode for me is that Una turned herself in. But also how all of that, by doing that, it had triggered all these things that Nira had set up in her argument.
I was listening to this other podcast because we both listen to so many other Star Trek podcasts, and they had some legal experts on.
Wow!
Yeah, and that kind of ruined it for me. Like this episode for me, I actually really enjoyed this episode too, but. They dug into it, and they basically dug into how none of it makes any legal sense, like whatsoever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really interesting, actually, and it just kind of makes me like think, like, why do they have like legal counsel, like on like it's the same way they have like a scientific counsel on to basically consult when when they have science or whatever. Would they have because I wouldn't expect like a Hollywood writer to know all the legalese necessary for it to make sense. Obviously, they're there to write a good story, but they might need help. So would they have like a legal expert come in to be like, hey, can you help us figure out the charges that make sense? Like, for example, the additional charges of like sedition. Right, like they charge her with like 2 counts of sedition or whatever, made no sense. Like the sedition is a plot to overthrow the government, and it's like, how does that make any sense? And they basically just like charge her with it without like probable cause. Like they presented no evidence that she tried to overthrow the government, and she wasn't even given a chance to mount a defense against. It's just like, surprise, here are the charges. Like there's like, they kind of broke it down. I was like, oh yeah, like it doesn't make any sense, which is really fascinating. I do think it was acted well, which, so I can't speak to the legal aspects of it. From a pure emotional argument standpoint, I was like, oh, this, it's compelling. It's good drama. But apparently, like from a legal perspective, like, from start to finish, really, it didn't really make a lot of sense. Like, for example, at the very end, they were like, there's no way that a lawyer would not tell their client that, oh, I'm going to mount a defense for you for asylum. Like, it's just like, she's like, surprise, surprising everyone. There's no way a lawyer would just like, oh, this is like, twists, like they would work with their client to kind of like, here's how I'm going to approach your defense. So it was kind of, obviously it was done for the drama, right? That's like, because the lawyers on this podcast were also saying like, yeah, like honestly, like if it's really like following like how like things in court actually work, it'd be really, really boring. So, that's a fair point. Yeah. So sure. Yeah, no, I thought that I really enjoyed it. I thought that the acting was great. It was great to get Una, more her background. It was an amazing presence. I do wish that the Illyrians were a little bit more alien, in general. Like, like this goes back to, I think this was one of my complaints about this season. Like the Lanthanites, the Illyrians, like, oh my God, everyone's so human looking. It's just like very unimaginative. Like you can do all this like if you could literally like, if you literally were a species that you manipulate, part of your culture is to manipulate your genetic code. It's like, wouldn't you want like more like, more anything, it's just interesting that, like, oh, it's just like very human. Like, they even like their outfits are very, maybe it's cool, but it's still very like human. So
Oh, I thought the costumes in this episode were really good, though. I thought
Nira's costumes were good, but it literally, I don't know. It kind of just like, it just like also kind of reminds me of like a power outfit, like it's just like a cool power outfit, but it wasn't like, oh, like, yeah, she's like an alien from another planet, but it's a cool like warrior power outfit, with some like glitter or like, whatever, like, sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. But yeah, it's just like, if you scrutinize it too closely, kind of like, potentially falls apart a little bit.
Yeah, probably like all things in television, even.
Oh, right, like the science stuff, like,
yeah,
like
exactly.
if you get too fixated
Not everything
on it.
is, yeah. So, we're here for the drama, we're here for the characters, and I think that's, seeing each of the, Mabenga, Lon, and Spock speak about Una, I thought that was really powerful and really well done. Yeah, I thought that this was, all of it was very, I thought it was really well stitched together. I thought, even when it all came up that, Pike already knew 4 months ago, I think that's where the sedition piece came in, if I'm not mistaken. That's where that was the
so basically they gave her a plea deal, and it was like, if you resign or whatever, they'll avoid jail time, and then she declines a plea deal, and then they basically are like, all right, then they up the charges. They 2 counts of sedition and then 20 years in the Federation penal colony. That's what they're going for. That's at the very beginning. And
this Vulcan has it out for them for some reason.
No, for sure. It's just like, but it's just the charges don't make any sense. Like, like the decision piece of it doesn't make any sense. Like, they don't give any probable cause at the very beginning. If you're going to charge someone, there needs to be like, why are you charging this person with sedition? Like, what's the evidence? What's the probable cause?
Well, I think that's what I was saying, is the evidence was that Pike held on to this information and kept it secret for 4 months. And
then he charges him with conspiracy. Like, sedition is like you're trying to overthrow the government. Yeah. So, but I didn't know what sedition was, by the way. Like, I was like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah. To be honest.
Yeah.
So, again, I enjoyed this episode. I thought, I think overall, like, I thought it flowed really well. Again, really loved some of the drama. I like that we got some background on Nira and Una, like, and I kind of want to know more about their relationship and their friendship.
It does seem to be more than meets the eye, which I kind of got the impression of.
I feel like hinted at that, a little bit.
Yeah, there was some hinting at that, which I was on board for. And that's great.
Yeah, and there was definitely a little bit, and we didn't really talk about this when it comes to episode 1, but there were a lot of LGBTQ allegories in episode 1. And this episode too, like like you don't want to hide anymore. Pelia was like, oh yeah, when I came out, like Amanda was one of the first people that I came out to. And then the girl that La'an went to save, her parents were both women. Like, there's a lot of LGBTQ representation that some a little more blatant than others. But definitely in this episode too, there was you can definitely see it through a specific lens and kind of see that, Yeah.
Well, I mean, if anything, Star Trek is great at giving us sci-fi stories about contemporary issues, and it does a great job with it in this aspect. I think this time, hiding yourself and all of that. So, I thought it was
I thought that part of it thematically was definitely really well done for sure. Yeah.
Well, cool.
Anything else about this episode? I'm trying to remember if there's anything else. I feel like we have more to talk about for the first episode.
Yeah, I think I need to really go back and rewatch this again. I've watched it twice. I watched it.
Oh wow! Look at you, bitch.
A while back, and then I watched it last week again on Paramount. And yeah, I feel like I need to watch it again, and just after I've listened to people talk about it more, and as if we talked about it more, I want to go back and like pick up on more things and just really appreciate some details in the episode. But definitely a stellar episode, and people are already putting it in the company of the Drumhead and Measure of a Man and Court Martial, and so that's pretty high accolades for this episode. So I'm here for it, and I think they did a great job with it, despite all of the things that you bring up about the legal inaccuracies and whatnot.
I literally listened to this podcast like 2 days ago, and I was like, "Oh man, yeah, I guess it doesn't make any sense." Like because they were pointing out just like other than like the very legal stuff, they were just pointing out like logic mistakes, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess so, huh?" Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you like think about it too much, it's like like it's harder to enjoy it. So maybe sometimes it's easier to like just turn your brain off and like just go for the ride.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it is for sure. Exactly.
I do think that one thing that this episode was difficult was, that this law cannot get overturned, right? Like, that it's not going anywhere because obviously 200 years later, it's still in effect. And one of the things going in, I think for both of us probably going into this episode is how are they going to get around it? Because we know this law does not get overturned. This is not a Roe versus Wade situation. It stays in effect for a couple more centuries. So it's like, how are they going to resolve this? So I do think that how they went about it was interesting. Like basically like she's like a, one-off case.
Right. Yeah.
But not precedent setting, by any means. So I do think that was an interesting, needle they had to thread. But
it's also a Starfleet Court of Justice, not a Federation thing. So the Federation, it does not. This would never actually really probably have affected.
Is this Starfleet law or Federation law?
It was in a Starfleet jurisdiction. This was Starfleet.
But is it?
I don't know. But anyway, I don't want to get lost in the weeds here, but it is definitely a Starfleet court. It's not the...
No, it's definitely a Starfleet court. Yeah, no, I'm just wondering, the Illyrians aren't
members of the Federation.
They're not part of the Federation,
which is why she can get asylum. So...
Right, but it's a Federation rule, right?
Code of Justice. I don't know. No, the Code of Justice I thought was a Starfleet Code of Justice, but maybe it's a Federation. I mean, the Federation hasn't been around for that long when this episode has happened.
Like 100 years?
100 years, yeah. So
or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, there are smarter people out there who will correct us and hopefully let us know that we are wrong about something.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure we're wrong about many things.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a Federation court. Absolutely. I mean, sorry, a Starfleet court. Sorry,
yeah.
God, even I'm like messing it up. But I do think that sometimes, even in the show, sometimes they conflate like
the two.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
All right. Well, shall we wrap it up for?
Yes. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about our sponsor, who we haven't talked about in months?
Well, they've released a lot of great products in the last couple of months. So Fansets is the premier sponsor of Deep Space Pride and the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. And head on over to Fansets, put a bunch of pins in your cart, and there are a lot of new ones out there since we've last recorded. We've got a new Star Trek XL Enterprise D Master Ships pin, which is gorgeous. We've got some new Star Trek, the universe of Trek pins, including Gwyn, Picard, and Jayla, and Culber. So lots more deltas, and as I see right now, there's the new 30 years anniversary pin for Deep Space Nine, which is currently sold out. But add it to your wish list. Go on over there, get notified when that's back in stock. I'm sure they're making more of those, and tons of deltas. Lots to choose from over on fansets.com. Head on over there. Put a bunch of pins in your cart. If you spend more than $30, you're going to get free shipping in the US. And if you add the code TrekGeeks, all one word, you'll get 10% off your order. And we want to thank Fansets for being the premier sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network and Deep Space Pride.
Thanks, Fansets. So side note, according to Memory Alpha, genetic enhancement. I was looking it up. So genetic enhancement or augmentation was forbidden by Federation law.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So they're like, no thanks, augments. We don't want you. That's what they're saying.
I mean, there's a lot there, including Lon's issues, which are still somewhat unresolved. So
yeah, that was one thing. Is she augmented? I mean, by ancestry, is she? I don't feel that's clear, right? That she has any abilities? Is she stronger?
I mean, we saw a fight with her and Una in the first season, which would say that she can tap into extraordinary fighting abilities.
I guess so, but she was also like delirious. Maybe. Yeah.
So
okay.
I think the augment issue will continue to be a through line for this.
I mean, we have a Noonien Singh as a main crew member, right. So yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Anyway.
Okay, why don't you tell our listeners how they can get in touch with us and correct all of our mistakes and misses and...
Yeah, so I was just about to do that. Thank you very much. So, yes, we would love to hear from you. We are barely active on social media, but if you try to reach out to us, we will perhaps potentially see your message, DM.
We're much less busy now, so we'll get back to you in some form or
other. You can reach us on Twitter and Instagram at Deep Space Pride, or you can email us at deepspacepride@gmail.com. And if you like this podcast and you're like, wow, they still exist, we would love for you to give us a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. And obviously subscribe if you want to hear our future potential podcast episodes that may or may not come out.
No, they'll come out.
Yeah.
We'll get back into this. So, we have a lot of new Trek to talk about. And, yeah.
Well, after Stranger Worlds, we have Lower Decks. Mm-hmm. And then we're not getting...
we're not getting Prodigy.
We're not getting Prodigy. So that could be a long break.
That could be. You're right.
Yeah, that could be a long break until what?
Exacerbated by the strike as well. So
right. Discovery. Again, you're saying that they haven't finished filming. They're not going to finish filming till September, but I don't know if the scenes are written. Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
So
the future is unknown, but yes, we are.
Well, post-production can still happen. They can still wrap up as long as the scenes have been filmed, they can still kind of do the VFX and things like that. So that's
I think maybe we'll get a split season with Discovery.
Maybe.
Now that they realize that they're not going to bring Prodigy on.
Yeah, because it'd be weird because Lower Decks would wrap up in September. or something.
I want to say
October?
like October. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, and
Yeah.
then, yeah, it'd be weird if it was like just no Star Trek for months and months. But who
But
knows? Who knows what the
2024, I
future looks
mean,
like?
right. But they did say Discovery is coming back in 2024, so maybe they'll bring it back a little earlier, give us half the season, and then come back for the second half with once they
I'll take
film.
it. Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
all right.
Cool. All right. Well, it's great catching up, Mike, because we never talk to each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, we don't. Not at least
No.
every day, almost.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But we haven't gone this deep in Star Trek in a while, so
I know it's been a hot minute. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been nice to catch up.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you here on the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Deep Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Coconut.